Hi, today is April 28th, and that means that I have a 1 month anniversary of online teaching. And this month has been incredible, let me tell you, because everybody finds and creates so many online resources and then shares them that like in a couple of weeks you already feel that you know so much more and that you know your teaching platform inside out. The platform that we're using is Zoom, which you know is incredibly versatile and flexible. And because of that, it has some functions that are a little bit less obvious than others. So if you know them, your whole teaching experience is going to be even easier and more enjoyable. Let's have a look at those 5 functions to make your experience even better. So imagine you start your class and you can see that 100% of your students have come, so there's no need to wait for anybody else. And you can lock your meeting because if you do that, nobody else will be able to join your conference, so you'll be absolutely safe. Now, imagine you did that, you're having a lesson, and then because of various reasons, some of your students dropped out. Well, sometimes it can happen because of, unstable internet connection, for instance. And of course, they want to come back, but if the meeting is locked, it would not be possible. So you have to unlock it first in the same menu to let your student back in. But what if you have a lot of students in your conference? How do you know that somebody has left? For such situations, Zoom has a very convenient function. It has 2 special sounds that play when somebody comes or somebody leaves, and you just have to make sure that this function is on in your settings. How can you see that setting? You need to go to your application, click Settings, and then View More Settings. And this will take you to the Zoom website. So this is the website that you're going to see, your settings. Now, if we scroll down, we will see the settings somewhere here in Basic Settings. Here that section starts. Yep, this one. Play sound when participants join or leave. So you have to make sure that it's on, just like here. And probably you might want to choose heard by host only, because if you hear those sounds, that's absolutely enough. Yeah, and it will not distract your students if they hear those sounds. So I have heard by host only, and that's absolutely fine. That works well. So that's a tip number 1. Play sound when your students join or leave. That will help you to react quickly and unlock your meeting or lock it back. Alrighty, so let's go back to our class. Now, imagine that at the lesson you want to use chat, well, for some reasons. As you know, there is a chat setting on the website. We have just seen it actually. Chat can be on or off, but sometimes in some groups children really get into it and they want to, to type something in the chat all the time, or use private chats, and that will get them distracted, of course. So if you want to prevent that, it's not necessary to switch the function off on the website. You can do it right during the conference. So have a look. If you press chat, and you can see it right here, in the very right side you can see more, an additional button. And here you can choose who your students can chat with. No one in this particular conference, host only, everyone publicly, or everyone publicly and privately. So, for example, if you want your students to send some of the answers to you only, even individually, you choose host only, and they just will not be able to do anything else until you allow it. So that's very convenient. Okay, so tip number 2. You can change the chat settings right here for this particular class, for this particular conference. Okay, imagine you're having a class and you want to use some additional materials for your students, like, I don't know, videos, books, pictures that you want to share. So then you go to the share screen button and choose, well, let's say whiteboard. And then you will see all your students on the right. But for example, right now I have more than 4 students. So as you can see, I have them right here and I have to scroll down to see all of them. So that's not very convenient, is it? That's why here there is a button which is called Show Grid Video. If you click on that button, you will see all of your students. Again, if you have a lot of students, you can actually, just a sec, you can actually pull the corners and make the window bigger, and that's it. And here you will have all your students at a time. So once again, tip number 3, show grid view. All right, and what if you want to show the video, for example? Let's go to the same function again. And sometimes it is really convenient to show just a part of a website. For example, just a window with a game or just that very video. So in this case, you need to go to the advanced section here and choose portion of screen instead of the whole screen. So now you can see that they see the portion of my screen, but it's not the screen that I want them to see. So I go to the website and imagine that I want to show this very video. So what I do is I just resize that window. Okay, more on top and less on the right. Okay. All right. So what my students will see is just that part. So they will just see the video. That's it. And I, as you can see the whole website. So I can do something on the right or here if I need, and that's actually very convenient. So tip number 4, share just a portion of your screen instead of the whole screen when it's needed. Okay, and finally, since we have language classes, we discuss a lot of things, and well, sometimes students behave really well and they don't interrupt each other, but sometimes some students tend to interrupt, or there is some background noise which you don't want to hear. So if this is the case, you need to go to Manage Participants, and here you can see that one of my students has his microphone on. Imagine that I want to mute all of them. I'm sure you already know this function, mute all. And when you see this window, make sure that allow participants to unmute themselves is not ticked, because this way your students will not be able to unmute themselves. Some of them already know how to do it, so you don't want them to, to mess with your class. So now you can see that all microphones are off, and even if they try to unmute themselves, it will not work until I do it as a teacher. So unmute all, and now everything is back to normal. So tip number 5, the final one, make sure that you do not allow your students to unmute themselves. Alright, I hope it was useful, and feel free to share your Zoom experience in the comments and the functions that you find the most useful. And have a great day. I'll see you next time.